Today, you'll master all 12 verb tenses in English. Welcome back to JForrest English. Of course, I'm Jennifer. Now let's get started. Let's start with the present simple tense. We use the present simple to talk about habits, routines, facts, and general truths. It's the most commonly used verb tense in English, but I still see mistakes with it. The structure is really simple. You just use the base form of the verb, which is the infinitive without to. But be careful, if the subject is he, she, or it, you need to add s or es to the verb. For example, I walk to work every day, but she walks to work every day.
I cycle to work every day.
Or they eat lunch at noon, but he eats lunch at noon. These examples are in the present simple because they're habits and routines, things that people do every day. For questions, we use do or does. For example, I could ask you, do you watch JForrest English lessons every day as part of your routine? So what's your answer? Hopefully your answer is yes, I do, Jennifer. Yes, I do. So put yes, I do in the comments. And of course, this answer is in the present simple. How about this question? Do you play guitar? Or does she, notice, does she like coffee? And for negatives, I don't watch much TV. He doesn't go to the gym.
I go to this gym.
Now, forgetting to conjugate the verb with he, she, it is one of the most common mistakes I see, even with my advanced students. So always double check your verb conjugation with the present simple. Don't worry about taking these notes because I summarize everything in a free lesson PDF. You can find the link in the description. Now let's move on to the present continuous. This tense is used for actions that are happening right now or around now and for temporary situations. The structure is subject plus to be conjugated with the subject plus the verb with ing. So you'd say, I'm speaking to her.
I'm speaking to you.
She's working from home this week. They're studying for an exam. To form questions, you just switch the order. Are you watching this video? Of course, your verb to be needs to match the subject. Is he coming over later?
Honey, coming over.
And for negatives, I'm not going out tonight. They aren't doing anything wrong. So notice native speakers use contractions in the present continuous. And one important note, we do not use stative verbs like know or believe in this tense. Use the present simple and say, I know the answer, not the present continuous, I'm knowing the answer. Let's move on to the present perfect. This tense connects the past and the present perfect. We use it to talk about experiences, changes, or past actions that still continue or matter now, connection to the present. The structure is subject plus have or has conjugated with the subject plus the past participle, the third form of the verb. To talk about a past action that matters now, you can say, I have seen that movie, so now I don't want to watch it again.
Well, I have seen that movie 1 or 7 times.
Or we've already eaten. We've already eaten, so I don't want a sandwich. This verb tense is very commonly used to ask questions about one's life experience. For example, have you ever tried sushi? So have you? Or has he ever managed a team? Has he? It's also common to use this tense in the negative to talk about things you haven't done until now, but you can still do it in the future, and that's the important thing. For example, I haven't been to New York yet. But because it's an unfinished timeline, the present perfect, you can go to New York next year or even in 10 years. Or you can say he hasn't called yet. But again, it's an unfinished timeline, so he can still call in the future. That's an important point.
No, he hasn't called yet.
Now let's look at the present perfect continuous. This tense is used to show how long something has been happening until now. It describes actions that started in the past and continue until now. The structure is subject plus have or has plus been plus the verb with ing. For example, I've been learning English for 2 years. How would you answer that? She's been working all day.
Your best friend has been working hard all day.
They have been talking for an hour. These actions, they started in the past and continue until now. Using this verb tense stresses the continuation of the action. You can ask, have you been sleeping okay? Has he been studying? Again, you're asking about actions that started in the past and continue until now. It could be the recent past or a longer past depending on the time reference used. In the negative, you can say, I haven't been feeling great.
I haven't been feeling so great.
She hasn't been paying attention. Again, remember that certain verbs can't be used in the continuous form. You would use the present perfect and say, I've known her for years. This shows the action started in the past and continues until now, because you can't say I've been knowing her for years, because know is a state of verb. Now let's talk about the past simple. We use the past simple for actions that happened and finished in the past. The structure is the subject plus the past tense of the verb. For regular verbs, that means adding ed to the base verb. For irregular verbs, you have to memorize the past verb. But you already know many of them, and you'll learn the ones you need naturally in context. With the past simple, you can use a specific past time reference or no time reference. For example, I visited, a regular ed, I visited my grandma last weekend. She watched a movie. They ate pizza. Of course, you already know that ate is the irregular past simple of to eat.
I ate a pizza crust off the floor.
To ask a question, we use did. Did you call her? Did they go to the concert? Notice that the main verb is the base verb, not the past simple verb. Did is in the past simple. This is a common mistake I see students make.
Did they go to the zoo?
And for negatives, I didn't like the movie, he didn't show up. Again, did is the past simple verb. Next is the past continuous. We use the past continuous for actions that were happening at a certain time in the past, or that were interrupted by something else. The structure is subject plus was or were plus the verb with ing. For example, she was sleeping at 10 p.m. They were studying English all night. These examples show that the action was in progress at a specific time in the past.
I was watching that.
Here's an example of an interrupted action. Notice how the action that interrupts is in the past simple. I was watching TV when you called. So the action of watching TV was in progress when another action interrupted it. To ask a question, you can say, were you listening to me?
Were you listening?
Was he working last night? To answer in the negative, you can say, sorry, I wasn't listening to you, or no, he wasn't working. He was studying English all night. Now let's review the past perfect. We use the past perfect to show that one past action happened before another past action. You can think of it as the past in the past. The structure is subject plus had plus the past participle. And this is the structure for all subjects. For example, I had already eaten when they arrived. Notice here there are two past actions. The first past action is I ate, and the second past action is they arrived. So to show the past in the past, you use the past perfect for the first past action and say, I had already eaten when they arrived. Another example, she had left before the meeting started. You don't need to specify the second past action. You can simply say they had finished the game. Maybe it's obvious based on context what the second past action is. To ask a question, had you seen that movie before? Had he ever been to Canada? In the negative, I hadn't heard the news. She hadn't arrived by the time the movie started.
I hadn't heard that.
She had us checkmated before we even left for Amsterdam.
Let's look at the past perfect continuous. We use this to show how long something had been happening before another event in the past. The structure is subject plus had been plus the verb with ing. Again, it's the same structure for all subjects. For example, I had been waiting for 30 minutes before the bus came. Notice here, it's still the past in the past, but now the focus is on the duration of the action. Again, you don't need to use the second past action. You can say, he had been working all night. They had been arguing for hours.
But in my defense, I have been traveling all day.
Because this tense focuses on duration, it's most common to use it with a time reference. To ask a question, had you been studying long? Had she been feeling okay? In the negatives, I hadn't been sleeping well. He hadn't been training properly. Remember, this tense helps you show the duration of something before another point in the past. Now we'll talk about the future simple. We use the future simple for predictions, promises, offers, or decisions made at the moment of speaking. The structure is subject plus will plus base verb, and it's the same structure for all subjects. To make a decision at the moment of speaking, you can say, I'll help you with those bags. This shows it wasn't a planned decision, it was spontaneous. To make a promise or commitment, you can say, I'll call you tomorrow.
I'll call you tomorrow.
To make a prediction, you can say, I think he'll get the promotion. Notice I said, I think. It's very common to use an opinion word when making a prediction in the future simple. To ask a question, will you call me tomorrow?
Listen, I have to go. I can't explain right now, but will you call me tomorrow?
Or will they stay the night? In the negative, I won't forget, I promise, or he won't like that. Now let's review the future continuous. We use this to talk about actions that will be in progress at a certain time in the future. The structure is subject plus will be plus the verb with ing. Again, it's the same structure for all subjects. Maybe your friend asks you to drive her to the airport and you say, sorry, I can't. I'll be working at 10 a.m. You use the future continuous to let your friend know what action will happen in the future. Other examples, she'll be flying to New York. They'll be waiting for us.
Next time they'll be waiting for you.
This tense is used to answer the question, what will you be doing at a future time? You may ask, will you be using the car at 5 p.m. tomorrow? Will he be sleeping when I get home tonight? In the negative, you can say, I won't be going to the party next week, or she won't be staying long. This tense is important because it helps your listener imagine what will be happening at a future moment.
I won't be staying long.
Next is the future perfect. This is used for actions that will be completed before a specific time in the future. The structure is subject plus will have plus the past participle. It's the same structure for all subjects. For example, I will have finished by 5 p.m. They will have arrived by then. These statements offer important information when planning future events.
The probe will have arrived.
You can ask, will you have completed the assignment by tomorrow? Will she have landed when we arrive? In the negative, they won't have completed construction before winter hits, or we won't have saved enough money by next summer for the trip. We usually use by with this tense, for example, by next week, by the time you arrive. Now let's review the future perfect continuous. This tense is used to talk about how long something will have been happening before a specific point in the future. Just know that in everyday use, this tense is very rare. Why? Because it isn't a common situation where you talk about how long something will have been happening before a specific point in the future. That's the only reason why it's rare. But of course, it can happen. And for language exams, it's important to know all 12 verb tenses. The structure is subject plus will have been plus verb in the ing form. It's the same structure for all subjects. For example, by next April, all have been working at this company for 10 years. Or, will have been saving for over a year by the time we buy the house. Notice this tense is also commonly used with by plus a future time reference, and you can place this at the beginning or the end. To ask questions, you can say, how long will she have been driving when she gets her new car? Will they have been dating for a year by their anniversary trip? And in the negative, she won't have been using the program long enough to be an expert. They won't have been living there long before they move again. Remember, this tense is rarely used in everyday speech, but again, it's important to know for your language exam. Now you know all 12 verb tenses in English. Of course, you need to practice and practice and practice this information. Do you want me to keep helping you with verb tenses? If you do, put let's go, put let's go in the comments. And of course, make sure you like this lesson, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you're notified every time I post a new lesson. And you can get this free speaking guide where I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can click here to download it or look for the link in the description. And here's another lesson I know you'll love. Make sure you watch it now.